Hello and welcome to this edition of Secure Networks, the Endace Packet Forensic Files, with your host, Michael Morris. This week's special guest is Betty Dubois, CEO for Packet Detectives and renowned SharkFest speaker. Betty, first of all, thank you for joining. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Thanks, Michael. I'm the head of a boutique professional services firm. We provide application and network troubleshooting for our clients based on packet analysis. I like to say we lower mean time to mystery solved. Personally, I've been deep into packet analysis since I started with Network General back in 1997. So just a little while now.
Yeah, exactly. So Betty, my next question was that you're a known industry expert in network investigations and Wireshark. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing NetOps and SecOps teams facing in terms of the challenges with all going on in the world and the massive shift to remote workers.
Well, I think they are facing similar challenges that we first faced when we went to the cloud. Number one, bandwidth and capacity of our connections. Only now we're adding the VPN concentrator or concentrators to the mix. And they were designed and provisioned for X users. And now all of a sudden we're serving X cubed. Will it hold? Will it give warnings before it chokes? Will bugs manifest themselves that before were hidden away, but now pop up because of the load? Then, of course, both NetOps and SecOps having to make adjustments in a fishbowl, to their environments. I mean, look at Zoom and how much growth is experienced and how it so quickly had to get more secure. And the next thing you knew, version 5 popped out and, using AES 256-bit, GCM. And that came out in like 2 weeks from when it first started to be obvious that, a lot of stuff is clear text in Zoom, which it was. Okay. But, meanwhile, at the same time, there's poor NetOps trying to go ahead and support 300 million meeting participants just back in April. So I think it's just volume, but it's coming through a different area, very similar when we push stuff to the cloud.
Yeah. Betty, what are some recent challenges your clients are coming to you with, and how are you helping them solve those issues?
Well, my clients lean more towards the small and medium business size, and they're focused right now on survival.
Yeah.
I'm getting more requests for packet analysis where they send me a PCAP, and it's, a 2 to 4 hour gig versus a full-blown consulting engagements where I bring in the equipment, set it all up, and actually do the analysis there, which is more, 3 to 5 day type of situation. But the core questions really haven't changed. Why can't I connect? Why am I getting this error?
Right.
Or why is it slow? Right? And to get definitive answers quickly, you need packets. So they still need me to analyze those. Just I'm feeling the COVID pinch.
I get it. I hear lots of SecOps teams and NetOps teams are. Are there some network investigation best practices you see these groups, NetOps and SecOps teams, doing to adjust to the new paradigms?
Well, I think that working with more data points is becoming easier for different people. I've seen that a lot more as far as before. They might have only gotten certain statistics, MRTG way back. But now what I see is they're working with more data points, especially what's coming in through the firewall, through the router, through the VPN concentrator. And I see them verifying their tools can handle that new monitor load, whether that's hardware or software. All right. That's what's most important for the incidents response and the troubleshooting. The upside is, if there's any, is that the data used to be coming in from 40 different locations into the data center.
Mm-hmm.
And now most of it, predominant majority, comes through, one or more VPN concentrators. And so the backside of those are, ideal capture points.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great point. Betty, you offer training and services in helping clients solve really complex network issues. What is some advice you would recommend to our listeners to improve their network investigation skills and competencies and overall company processes?
Well, I think the biggest one is don't operate in reactive mode only. Carve out some time each day. I know that's an impossible task, but carve out some time each day to learn a little bit about your network. Focus on different things each day or each couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's verifying your QoS markings, your quality of service markings. Are they staying the same in more than one location, right? They may be configured correctly, but as they travel, are they still there or are they being changed, right? Are those tags being respected? Especially, we're looking so much at, video conferencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It can't really see the benefit of that higher priority if some box along the path flips the bits to go ahead and make it back to default, right? And then looking at things like the effects of different TCP errors in Wireshark. So many of them, how they could be interpreted and how they could be applied might be completely different than what they seem. For the biggest example for me is window full. Oftentimes people see that message in Wireshark and they think, well, Betty's the source of that packet, so Betty's window must be full, right? No. Michael's the destination of that packet. And the last time Michael told me his window size, I'm like, okay, I have just enough to send one more packet and then it'll be full, which is totally cool. I mean, you said you had enough data to have one more packet, so I sent you one, right? But that filled your window, and now the window's full. So you see how easy it would be to misinterpret that and think the issue is, on my host versus the other side. And so looking at how your tools work and what they're really trying to tell you versus what's the fastest thing for you to assume. And then, not waiting until you've got a mission critical app that is, going haywire. And suddenly you're like, oh, now I have to, Google this. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to the vortex. Okay.
No, every time I talk to you, you're always teaching me something new on packet profiles and packet headers. On that, I often hear comments from our customers and SecOps teams that we engage with. Not everyone can be a packet expert, and frankly, as you know, those skills are often hard to find in organizations. But give some tips to folks who are just getting started or really trying to increase their expertise.
Well, this will sound weird, but I've been saying it for years. You should sniff yourself. Because if you're the user, right, correlating what you just did to what you see in the PCAP really makes it so much easier.
True. Yeah.
I opened a browser. I went to ndace.com. What happened in the background for me to do that? Oh, look, a DNS request, right? Or I just sent a file to the printer. What had to go on for me to do that? Oh, wow, look at all this LDAP and Kerberos traffic and DNS traffic for that. What is that all about? Oh, yeah, that's right. And then there's my printer file. And you see those relationships and those dependencies between the protocols, and it helps you to understand, especially if you filter for one conversation at a time. Don't make yourself crazy. Just do one thing at a time and walk it through all the steps. And that builds your confidence.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you start to look at more and look at more.
Okay, good tip. Many folks are familiar with Wireshark. But what are key insights you can recommend to people to be more advanced power users? I know in your class I learned a ton of things, but share some of your top items.
Good. Well, I think everyone should attend SharkFest. I think when you download Wireshark, you should just automatically have to go to SharkFest, right? And it's a conference that combines users with developers. So we all get a chance to learn from each other, right? Mm-hmm. And actually this year, I'm going to be teaching a pre-conference class on profiles. Okay. So optimizing filters, protocol settings, columns, colors, the goal being to save a lot of time when you're under that gun. Mm-hmm. And personally, I set mine by protocol and or OSI model layer. And then, so after profiles, I'm a big believer in, starting from the OSI, going all the way up, learn your routing protocols, learn your layer 4, learn TCP like the back of your hand, and then get into your application layer protocols, right? Because if you don't, look at the bottom up, you can't troubleshoot from the bottom up. Yeah. And, you can say, yes, my application was slow. Well, you knew that going in. And the question is, you can try to fix it at layer 7, but if you don't fix it at layer 3, it'll never be fixed, right? And it'll just manifest and manifest and manifest.
That's a great point, and I hear on that. I was talking to a CTO the other day who was talking about a bunch of interns they had, and security interns don't often maybe have that exposure to the whole OSI stack. So that's
right. They weren't forced to learn it like we were.
Exactly. What's the biggest misconception you believe folks have about PCAP data?
Well, I think that people think that it's too overwhelming to work with. And the big help, I think, is knowing what you're searching for or using some type of search vehicle like Zeek, in the application doc, right? To go ahead and search for different things will help you to find things right away. And if you can find or if you can search, then you can filter. And, all you have to have are the packets themselves. So the key is, of course, instrumentation to get the packets themselves. But either method, right? All it ever takes is finding one problem in the packets to feel that rush of being a packet hero, and you're hooked. But you have to get over that being overwhelmed with data. Don't look at the stuff that works. Oh, for heaven's sakes, don't look at that. All right. Oh, it works. Don't worry about it. Focus on the stuff that you're there to look at. Otherwise, again, you're in that vortex.
Yeah. Filtering down, that's the key. I agree. Betty, again, I want to thank you for your time. But as I always close these conversations, I really want to ask the kind of one really open-ended question. What do you recommend to our listeners of one thing to look out for or think about over the next 6 to 18 months in this ever-shifting battle around network security and network performance?
Learn about DNS over TLS.
Yes.
Okay. And learn where you can still get the information that you need and what you have to do to get more information. Is it really required to have decryption to troubleshoot it? It depends. Is it really required to go ahead and have decryption to look at TLS? You can troubleshoot with the handshake, you can NetOps with the handshake. The question is, can you really, are you troubleshooting the stuff behind it, or are you just troubleshooting the actual connection? So you have to understand how it works to answer that question.
No, that's tremendous. And it's funny you mentioned that one, because more and more issues I'm seeing are security breaches hidden in DNS traffic.
Oh yeah. And so DNS, over TLS, it's just like, it makes troubleshooting harder, and you have to look at, what are they hiding, right?
Yeah.
And, and what is going on there.
Yeah.
And, what type of traffic do they do next?
Yep.
And and there's so many data points. There we go. Right back to the last question.
Yeah. Well, Betty, thank you for taking some time out of your day. Thank you for joining and sharing your tremendous insights in how to be better at network investigations. I'd ask our listeners to tune in next time for another edition of the Endace Packet Forensic Files. For more information about Endace's network packet capture platform and our integrations with our Fusion technology partners, please go to endace.com. Thank you again, Betty. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Thank you.